Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We will now proceed with the press conference with Police General Debold and Sinas, Chief Philippine National Police. Please all rise for the invocation, and I would like to request the Director of the Chaplain Service, Police Brigadier General Jason Ortizo.
Let us bow our heads and be aware of God's loving presence in our midst. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-loving God, source of all wisdom and understanding, we glorify and praise you as we submit ourselves completely to your holy will. Empower us, dear God, along with the PNP Corps and friends from the media, your sacred protection, and grant that your divine providence would influence our duties and responsibilities, especially for this coming week ahead. Finally, we beg you, dear Lord, to deliver the entire PNP organization and the leadership from all forms and dangers and harms, especially to our beloved CPNP, Police General Debold M. Sinas. Let your perpetual blessings enjoin us to vault in as one Team PNP for the betterment of the entire PNP organization and the legacy of our service. Grant all this we ask and pray in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. And now, the press statement of the Chief of the Philippine National Police, Police General Debold M. Sinas.
To the member of the press, good morning to all, and welcome to our Monday press con. I'd like to acknowledge the presence, of course, of our command group here, headed by General Gilor Elizar, our TDCO, and at the same time, the COVID-19 shield, Police General Cesar Binag, RTCDS. We have here also the Police General Jojo Veracruz, the members of the directorial staff, and we have invited the Regional Director of NCRPO for other details. We have also invited the Director of PNP DEG, Brigadier General Ronald Lee, and the Director of AKG. We have also here the Police Brigadier General Jonel Estomo for some updates. So, as of today, we'll be presenting the usual crime statistics. Next slide. Operator, next slide. The donations we have received from December 19 to January 7. We have the COVID-19 awareness of our personnel to be presented by our DCA, si General Gilor Elizar, and other significant accomplishments and incidents. To start with, may I request our TDIDM, Police Major General Marnie Marcos, to give us the weekly crime statistics. Thank you.
To the Team PNP, headed by our beloved Chief PNP, Police General Sinas, sir, the members of the command group, our TDCA, Police Lieutenant General Eliasar, sir, our DCO, Police Lieutenant General Cesar Binag, sir, our TCDS, Police Lieutenant General Veracruz, other directors of the different directorates who are present, our RDPNCO, directors of NSUs, our friends from the media. Ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Today I will be showing you the crime environment for the first week of January, which is January 1 to 7, 2021, compared to the same period last year. Next slide. For the 2-week comparative period from January 1 to 7 of that of last year and to this year, it can be observed that both index and non-index crime decreased or went down by 55.51% and 12.14% respectively. This decrease on both index and non-index crimes were still attributed to the restricted movement, limited physical contacts, and interaction of people during pandemic comparing to that period last year without COVID-19 problem, without so much COVID-19 problem. On the screen is a summary of vis-a-vis graphical representation of 8 focus crimes comparing the 1 week of January 1 to 7 versus same period of the current year. In general, all the focus crimes went down on the first week of 2021 as against the same period last year. Saan yung graphs niya? Yan. Clearly, the overall decrease in all of the 8 focus crimes are caused by the following: implementation of intensified checkpoints and patrols and other interventions during this community quarantine by the police force. Again, the continuous implementation of the enhanced managing police operations. Next, please. Both crime solution and crime clearance efficiencies for the first week of January 2021 versus same period last year went down by 15.88% and 4.8% respectively. And this is understandable because crimes in the first week of January 2021 had just happened and mostly were still under investigation. Succeeding slides will show you the crime environment covering the period of December 25 to 31, 2020 as against January 1 to 7, 2021. Next. For the 2-week comparative period, December 25 to 31 versus of 2020 versus January 1 to 7, 2021, it can be gleaned that both index and non-index crimes decreased or went down by negative 45 or 7.63% and 539 or 16.54% respectively. Also shown is the summary as well as the graphical representation of 8 focus crimes for the first week of January 2021 versus last week of 2020 of December, wherein it can be observed that there is a slight increase in number by 2 incidents in homicide and 6 incidents in rape. Next, please. Both crime solution and crime clearance efficiencies recorded for the first week of 2021 went down by 7.67% and 6.02% respectively as compared to the last week of the year 2020. With same reason that crimes had just happened and these cases were mostly still under investigation. As time goes by, upon the discovery of the pieces of evidence, this will improve in its solution. On the assessment of crime environment, there is a general decrease on all 8 focus crimes and non-index crimes as against the same period of the previous year. Again, reasons: employment of proactive method by way of police interventions, enhanced managing police operations are actively in place, and the effect of pandemic is still lingering, and the decrease in non-index crimes brought about by the adoption of the public to quarantine protocols. Decrease of crime clearance and crime solution efficiencies from January 1 to 7 to 2021 as against the previous year. Most of these cases are the current year are still under investigation, and cases of previous year are mostly solved because of the follow-ups and updates done over time. Next, based on the facts as recorded and encoded in the Sinas by local police stations, the incidents of homicide reflected the following. NCR regions 4A and 12 registered the most number of homicide incidents. 5.9% increase in the use of pointed and sharp bladed objects as main weapon, and main motives for the recorded homicide incidents involves jealousy and heated arguments, and most of the suspects are not under the influence of liquor. The increased number in rape incidents for the comparative week, from the total recorded number of 83 of rape incidents, NCR has 20 incidents, or mostly happened in Quezon City and Manila. Region 4A has 11 incidents, and most of them happened in Cavite. And Region 3 has 10 incidents, mostly happened in Angeles and Bulacan. Based on records also, these cases occurs mostly in residential areas, houses or condominiums. There is also a 35% increase in the number of suspects under the influence of liquor. There are 27 suspects under the influence of liquor recorded this week compared to 20 suspects last week. Most of the relationships of the victims with the suspects are acquaintances, which more than half of these neighbors, while the others are online friends, but there is a 3.77% decrease in the number of minor victims. The following are the causes in the decrease of crime clearance and crime solution efficiencies. Most of these cases are still under investigation, and this will improve as week progresses with the recent developments on the investigation of these incidents. That ends my presentation. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
Thank you, Marnie. Again, after the crime statistics, we may request our Director for Logistics, Police Major General Lito Casimiro, to present the donations we received from December 19 to January 7.
Good morning, sir. Good morning to the members of the media. Can you please go directly to donations? From December 19, 2020 to January 7, 2021. On donated items, there are a total of 5,520,793.72 pesos donated for police regional offices, 44,070,794 donated for the national support units, with a grand total of 49,491,587.72. And we would like to show you the donors. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Hyperlink lang. Yung 49. As shown, the list of donated items came from Balanga LGU and ordinary citizens just like Mark Bernardo for Region 3, and for Cordillera, ordinary civilians are donating to our municipal police station, just like Henry Castillo, Mangayaw family, Marlene Wanason, Cesar Corcha, and Sharon Salvador. No matter how small the donation is, we took note of it, and a letter coming from the Chief PNP acknowledging their donation is being given to them. Next slide. For the National Support Units, LSS, Pro 11, PCAG, Health Service, the Philippine National Police Academy, Pro 7, Internal Affairs, Pro 4A. Next slide, please. For Region 11, Region 7, NCRPO, Pro 4A. Next slide. Again, for PRO 11, 7, Highway Patrol Group, and ProCorps. Next slide, please. For Police Regional Office 3, Police Regional Office 4A, Pro 1, next slide, ProCorps 4A, Crime Laboratory, Pro 7, next slide, Pro 3, ProCorps, Internal Affairs, and Pro 11. Next slide, please. Again, for ProCorps, PCAG IAS 11. Next slide. PRO 7, PRO Corps, NCRPO, and 11. Next slide, please. Pro 11, NCRPO, ProCorps, Pro 11. Next slide, please. Pro 7, 11, 3, ProCorps, Health Service. Next slide, please. Also from the Health Service, for Health Service from United Defenders, a total of 49,476,587.72. And we just got and delivered 1 million foodstuffs from Island Pacific USA, being managed by Nino Lim. And this is what is good of it, because the chain of stores in the United States wants the donation to pass through the Philippine National Police. And we negotiated for the transport and distribution of these goods to the flooded area in Cagayan, especially in Tugigaraw, Alcala, and Amulong. And it is now being shown in the different stores, in the chains of stores doon sa Island Pacific po sa US. Yung PNP in partnership with these donors, nakikita ngayon doon sa mga stores na yung PNP po yung nag-receive and yung PNP po yung nag-deliver doon sa target niya. Because the owners doesn't want to pass through daw sa LGU. They want it sa PNP. So, doon po nagpapasalamat kami sa Island Pacific USA for the confidence na binigay nila sa Philippine National Police. That's all, sir, for DL. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Lito. Now let us hear the COVID update, cases of PNP personnel by our DCA, General Guerrero Rizal. Go ahead, Bob.
Thank you, sir. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Next slide. So this will be an update as of yesterday, as of 6 p.m. As you can see from the screen, we have now a total of 9,277 cases. The active of which are 326. So, the total number of recoveries is now 8,923. 26 yung ating new recovery yesterday. At ang bagong reported kahapon, 36. Nakapako pa rin po sa 28 yung ating mga nasawi na mga pulis. Next slide. Aside from that 9,277, we are monitoring another 503 personnel. 315 are the close contact, 71 suspect, and 117 probable cases. Next slide. Shown in the bar graph, ito ngayon yung percentage. 96% for the recoveries. Active case is 3.51 with 0.3% for the death out of the 9,277 total confirmed cases. Next slide. Ngayon makita naman natin dito yung positivity rate natin. Makita natin na itong 9,277 is 4.23% of our total strength. Meaning, ito yung ating so far na running positivity rate. While PRO comprises 83% of the strength of the PNP, but as you can see from there, 3.45% yung positivity rate ng assigned sa PRO. Contrary, or in contrast with the NHQ, na kahit yan ay 1.4% lang ang population natin dito or strength namin, pero 11.12%. Meaning, talagang dito sa NHQ sa Kamkrame, andito pa rin, being part of Metro Manila, ang epicenter. Kaya nga nag-iingat tayo, pati na rin ating mga members ng media. Sa NSU, which alam naman natin na most of the national offices are also here in Metro Manila, ayan po, 7.63 ang positivity rate. By the way, the strength of NSU is 16% of the total strength of the PNP. Para mas makita nyo, mas ma-appreciate, next slide, makita natin itong bar graph. So, 0.423% PNP-wide positivity rate, but maliit man ang nasa NSQ, pero ayan, 11.12. Yan yung ina-address natin dahil talagang naandito nga tayo sa Metro Manila, and NSU, marami rin naandito. For PROs is 3.45. Isa-isahin natin yan, very briefly, for NSQ. Next slide, please. Ito po yung mga units sa NSQ. Makita natin dyan yung total strength at so far, ilan na ang nag-positive na personnel dito sa mga opisina nito. To appreciate it better, next slide. Positivity rate. Diyan po sa positivity rate, makita natin na yung DICTM ang mataas with 24.62%. Nawala. Yan. Let's go to that positivity rate for NSQ. Next slide. So, DICTM has 34.62%, followed by HRAW with 25.93%, and the third highest is OTDCO with 25%. So, dyan po yung makikita natin ito. Average niya is 11.12. Let's proceed to the NSUs. For NSUs, ito rin yung breakdown, the total strength, as well as those who have been positive. 7.63 average niya. Next slide. For the bar graph, IMEG has the highest positivity rate of 18.04%, followed by engineering service with 15.54%. And the third one is chaplain service, 15.04. At nagbabari na ang nakita po natin dyan. Average is 7.63. Let's proceed to the PROs, which ito yung bulk, 83% ng ating population. Mababa naman yung kanilang average na positivity rate overall for PRO. Considering nga na ito is malayo sa epicenter natin. Tingnan natin yung bar graph. Mas makita natin ngayon na logically, itong NCRPO, pinakamarami ng personnel Manila, napakarami, pero ito, 11.60% ang positivity rate na tumutugma naman sa ating analysis assessment, pati na rin ng pangkalahatan on the national level. This is followed by PRO 4A na 4.93 and followed by Pro Cordillera 4.65%. So, for the active, next slide, for the active cases that we have right now, this totals to 326, which is 3.51% nung total na confirmed cases natin on our monitoring. So next slide, out of these 226, 18 are confined in hospital, while 308 are confined on the different quarantine facilities of the PNP. Next slide for the testing, which is the main focus of our CPNP para nga makatulong dito sa ating pag-address ng COVID. Makita natin na as of now, 36.86% of our personnel or 80,932 have been tested. Itong PRO na 65% ng na-test natin nasa PRO, pero 28.8% lang yun nung total population ng PRO na 181. Pinakamataas pa rin ang NHQ at NSU, which is yan talaga yung focus natin dahil nakita naman natin na mataas ang positivity rate sa NHQ and NSUs. Okay, isa-isahin natin, makita nyo lang bar nung relative to each other. Next slide. Okay, next, kung himay-himay natin, very briefly for sa NHQ, yan yung makikita natin, total strength, ilan na out of them ang na-test at itong percentage natin. Okay, next slide. Ayan, sa bar graph makikita natin, 75.48, halos lahat 100% except for sa IAS na 27.4%. Ito, inuutay-ita natin. Dito nakafocus ngayon ang ating health service. However, kung i-compare natin sa positivity rate naman, actually, ang IAS is isa sa pinakababa. 3.54% lang ang positivity rate nila, even though sila ay nasa considered sa NSQ. Yung number 2 dyan, na mababa pa, DIPO, 42.5 pala test natin, pero ang positivity rate 3.7. Then followed by DIPO, Northern Mindanao, na ang positivity rate na ay 2.38. Lipat tayo ngayon sa NSQ, sa National Support Unit natin. Ayan, makita po natin ilan na test out of the total strength and the percentage. Next slide for the graph. Marami na rin na ang average nila ay 75.4%. Ang nakita natin mababa pa na percentage is yung EOD. Ang positivity rate niya so far is 3.89. Actually, mababa kasi siguro kung kunti pa test natin, kaya baba pa lang yung ating nakikita doon. So next is NPTI na organic, 21% pa lang test sa kanila. Ang positivity rate nila so far ngayon 4.67. And pinakatatlong pinakababa sa ngayon is ABSI Group, 27.39% at ang 5.4 naman yung positivity rate niya. Anyway, the health service, in coordination with DP, sila ngayon ang inaalam nila kung sino may itetest natin, lalo na yung naka-assign dito sa Metro Manila. And for NCRPO, next slide, eto, 52,000 na ang personnel out of 181,000 ang na-test, which is 28.8%. Sa bar graph natin, makita natin na NCRPO, next slide, ang lumalabas na Cordillera, ang by percentage-wise, ang pinakamarami. At followed by NCRPO, halos pareho sila. And also percentage-wise, kung titingnan natin, doon sa positivity rate, sila talaga yung pinakamataas. One of the factors is that talagang massive yung testing nila. Ang pinakamababa na sa testing is itong PRO 11, 12, and 13. Pero actually, ang kanilang positivity rate is almost 1% lang. Ito yung nakikita natin na since malayo sa epicenter to, kahit hindi naman tayo mag-maximize ang testing sa kanila, depende sa availability at depende sa sitwasyon, okay lang yun. As long as namamanage at namamonitor ng ating different regional ASCOT. In summary, next slide, ito po, 36.86 na tested na personnel, which is 80,000, and the remaining 180,000 or 60% hindi pa ito natetest. Next slide. Now, 80,000 na personnel ang ating na-test, pero ang total test conducted is 84,324. So meron tayong sobra na 13,000. 14% yun. Ito yung mga paulit-ulit na test natin. Ang ating ang directive ng ating CPNP is yung sa metro base, lalo na yung vulnerable, kung pwede kayanin na every month, kung hindi man, every 2 months, mag-maximize tayo with the maximum capacity ng ating molecular laboratories na mapaulit-ulit kasi dito talaga ang problema natin at yun ang ating ina-address. So nakita natin dyan, NCRPO, they have only 23,000 or yung kanya na test na is hindi ganun pa, hindi naman abot dyan, pero ang lumalabas na total number of tests na nakonduct sa kanila is 25,592, followed by NSU and NSU na marami dito kasi iba, logical din naman dahil yung iba nagta-travel, may mga activities, and then nandito ka rin tayo sa ating pandemic. So, one of the, ang guidance ng ating CPNP for our people to be compelled to observe the minimum health protocol, lalo na yung pagsusuot ng face mask at face shield. Unang-una, pag na-test ang PNP personnel at mag-positive, no home quarantine. Obligado ka na dalhin sa quarantine facilities. Ngayon, nadagdagan pa. Kung ikaw ngayon, yung nag-positive, kinontact trace natin, at nalaman natin sa kanya kung sino yung kanyang high risk, or yung nakita natin yung mga low risk na mga, high risk na close contact, dadalhin din sa quarantine facilities. Alam nyo, yung quarantine facilities natin, hindi kailangan mag-positive, pero kung ikaw ay close contact at nalaman namin through contact tracing, obligadong dalhin ka doon. Pero kung ikaw naman ay low risk close contact, meaning, pag in-interview ngayon itong ating positive at sinabi na nakasama niya sa ganyan for 30 minutes sa ganyan, tatanungin ngayon, ano ang situation niyo doon? Naka-face mask mo po na face shield, low risk ka, hindi ka kailangan na dalhin doon. At bakit natin ginagawa ito? Para mapalitan mga personnel natin na kung close contact ka man, low risk ka, hindi ka dalhin doon. Kasi talaga sa totoo lang, takot ang mga pulis natin o kahit sino naman na mapugo doon, di ba? Na papunta ka doon, na close contact ka pa lang, dadalhin ka na doon. Kasi kung ganun ang ating policy na close contact lahat dadalhin doon, even though low risk ka, sigurado kami, dapat naka-quarantine na rin. Kasi for several times, meron ko na lang pupunta sa opisina ko, after that, kinabukasan, positive pala siya. But because we wore our face shield and face mask at meron pa tayong shield na ganun doon, we are considered to be low risk close contact, meaning we are not required to go on quarantine. So we disseminated that to all our personnel to encourage them na lagi magsuot ng mga yun, knowing that regularly in Metro Manila, you will be tested. At pag nag-test ka at nag-positive ka, yari ka. Naging close contact ka, yari ka pa rin. So that is one way of compelling them. That's all. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Bok. Before the PNP will brief, I'd like to inform everybody that the PNP has intercepted and arrested individuals involved in the transport, sale, and distribution of party drugs from the United States and the Netherlands. Ecstasy, marijuana, and kosh, or high-grade marijuana, had been proliferating in the market, and we are warning those who engage in this illegal trade. We know how resourceful you have been, but we are relentless in our pursuit, even of the users of the so-called recreational drugs. In this, I'd like to request the Director of PNP-DEG to make a detailed presentation for the public information on their latest accomplishments against illegal drugs. Go ahead, Ronald Lee.
Good morning, sir, and members of the media. Good morning. The scope of my presentation will be the latest accomplishments of the DEG from December 31 to the present. It involves the arrest of a female suspect in Cainta Rizal, the drug bypass operations in Ermita, Manila, the 600,000 worth of marijuana was found in a parcel, a controlled delivery, and the 13.6 million bus in Concepcion, Tarlac, involving a Nigerian national. On the first case, this was a Copland-based bypass operation at Unit C, 9029 Cabisig Street, Block 1, Floodway, San Andres, Cainta, Rizal on January 7, 2021 at 6 p.m. The operating teams are the SOU3 and the PDEA, NCR, and Cainta Municipal Police Station. The arrested suspect is a certain Christine Almario Pimentel, 30 years old, a curriculum developer at Quantrix, Taytay, Rizal, and a resident of 163 Diamond Street, Doña Luisa Village, Ecolan, Davao City. The result of operation, it involves the seizure of 2,000 tablets of suspected party drugs or ecstasy with a standard drug price of 3.4 million, 500 grams of high-grade marijuana or kush with a standard drug price of 60,000, 1 kilogram of white crystalline substance suspected to be methamphetamine hydrochloride known as shabu with standard drug price of 6.8 million. In that raid, we also noted that there were a kitchen-type laboratory wherein they are processing or refining the shabu to make it more potent. A case of violation of Section 5, 8, and 11 of Article 2 of Republic Act 9165 was filed against the suspect. In a related operation in Ermita, Manila, a bypass was conducted. This was also related to the raid in Cainta, wherein the subject of operation is the live-in partner of the arrested female suspect. The subject is a certain Ish Aguilar, the live-in partner, and alias Kuya. The bypass operation was conducted on January 8, 2021, 12:20 a.m. The operating teams are the lead unit is the Station Drug Enforcement Team of Ermita Police Station, the SOU3, RID NCR, RDU NCR, and the RSOG NCR. Alias Kuya died during the bypass operation since he resisted. He is 30 to 35 years old, wearing black long sleeve and khaki short pants. The other suspect, alias Ish Aguilar, was managed to escape. For the result of the operation, 7 medium-sized vacuum-sealed, transparent plastic sachet containing undetermined quality of colored pink tablets with Thunderbolt engravings believed to be MDMA, commonly known as ecstasy, was seized. 5 pieces genuine 1,000 peso bills bearing serial numbers, which was used as the marked bypass money. Cash amounting 800 pesos in different denomination, and 1 caliber 45 pistol. For the seizure of 600 worth of marijuana kush in a parcel, it was a controlled delivery operation in a vape habit shop, Purok 5, Barangay Sico, Lipas City, Batangas on January 9, 2021. The operating teams are the interagency units of the interdiction team of PDEA, PNPDEG, Aviation Security Group, Bureau of Customs of NAIA, PDEA NCR, PDEA 4A, PDEA Batangas, and NBI. The arrested suspects are John Yengle Hernandez, 29 years old, the vape store owner and a resident of Banay First, San Jose, Batangas. Juan Joshua Magpantay, 29 years old, and a resident of Barangay 3, Mataas na Kahoy, Batangas. Confiscated item during the operation is the 500 grams of marijuana kush worth 600,000 pesos. This was imported, that came from abroad. 1 unit cellular phone, 1 Samsung cellular phone, 1 iPhone 5S cellular phone, driver's license, a multi-purpose ID, 1 invoice, and a signature record from the courier service. Another accomplishment is the bypass operation in Concepcion, Tarlac against the Nigerian national. It was conducted in a parking lot of a CM Disco and Videoke Bar located at Barangay Jasmine, Concepcion, Tarlac on December 31, 2020 at 10 a.m. Operating teams are DSOU 8, 2 and 1, and the Rio 3, AKG, R2 Region 3, Concepcion, MPS, and PDEA. The neutralized suspect is Gabriel Onyechefula, a Nigerian national. His area of operation is Region 3 and Region 1. Confiscated during the operation are 3 not-tied transparent plastic bags containing shabu more or less 2 kilograms, 1 caliber 9mm machine pistol, and 2 genuine 1,000 peso bill placed on top of 14 bundles of Budel money. That's all, sir, for the PNP-DEG.
Thank you very much. And that's the update for our illegal drugs operations. Now let us hear the update of the Director AKJ on the series of the kidnapping, sorry, not series, of the kidnapping of James Elia Yap, which they have solved and arrested the suspect. Go ahead, General Jonel Estomo.
Good morning to our legendary CPNP, Police General Debold Sinas, sir, members of the command group, senior officers, fellow officers, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today I will be presenting to you the AKG accomplishments on POGO statistics from 2019 to 2020, and our recent accomplishment on POGO-related kidnapping, and last, the James Elijah Yap kidnapping case. The statistic records presented shows the general picture of POGO kidnapping cases that was attended by the PNP AKG in the country from 2019 to 2020. The downward trend of kidnapping, however, reveals the effective and efficient operational strategies to contribute to the overall mission of the PNP in ensuring public safety and security. POGO, or Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators statistics, related cases shows from the period of 2019, there are recorded 9 incidents. There are 13 POGO victims, namely 12 Chinese, 1 Taiwanese, arrested suspects, 28 Chinese, and 6 Filipino, with a total of 34 arrested and 6 were filed cases in court. Compared to 2020, that there are 17 reported incidents. Victims are 18 Chinese, 13 Taiwanese, 1 Malaysian, 1 Vietnamese. Arrested suspects, 26 Chinese, 3 Filipino, 1 Filipino-Chinese, 2 Indonesian, 2 Malaysian, and 1 Taiwanese, with a total of 35 suspects, and 10 were filed in court. There was a slight increase in the recorded cases, particularly in the year 2020, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, since there was a stoppage on the operations of the online gaming casinos. Employers have no profit, and in order to survive, they will detain their employees and deprive them and ask for money in exchange for their liberty to their families abroad. Furthermore, the AKG's best practices to strategically enhance interoperability with local PNP units that adapts to the operational landscape and threat groups in the country. On the other hand, our recent accomplishment on Pogo-related kidnapping, on December 27, 2020, 1:30 p.m., Mr. Chen Yen-so, 26 years old, Pogo employee, Taiwanese national, was kidnapped at his room 2217 Burgundy Tower, Pacific Avenue, Parañaque City. The kidnappers demanded a ransom of 5 million, which was reduced to 2.3 million. And on December 31, 2020, at around 7:30 p.m., AKG operatives conducted rescue operation at apartment number 8, Villa Emmanuel Town Homes, Barangay Tuklong, Imus, Cavite, that resulted in the rescue of the victim and the arrest of 2 suspects, Mr. Lu Ching and Mr. Shi Long Ho. I confirm that there is a kidnapping of James Elijah Yap when the case was reported at the anti-kidnapping by the Quezon City Police District last January 1. I dispatched my team to investigate and immediately inform our Chief PNP, who instructed me to oversee the entire operation and to ensure that the victim will be safe and the kidnappers must be arrested at all costs. On that day, the anti-kidnapping action team was activated and instructed them to comply with instruction of our Chief PNP. We set up a command post at AKG and prepared for the initial contact from the kidnappers, which came in the afternoon, and the demand for ransom of 200 million pesos, it was lowered to 1.5 million until the kidnappers called for a payoff on January 5. 12 teams were organized for the payoff operation until they finally located the vehicle used during the kidnapping. An arrest was made when the victim partially identified one of the kidnappers who happened to be the mastermind. The victim was released and is now reunited with his family. During the backtracking operation, he was able to pinpoint the location of the safe house where he was held captive for 5 days. Since the kidnapping case was reported, our Chief PNP was constantly monitoring the updates and every details of the operations and giving guidance. With the guidance and instruction of our Chief PNP, we achieved our mission. A case of kidnapping for ransom was filed at DOJ. We will serve the warrant once it is issued, and we will not stop until all of them falls into the hand of the law. This is the guidance of our legendary Chief PNP. Lastly, allow me, sorry po, hindi nasama ito sa pero gusto ko sanang basahin sa inyo para malaman ng mga media. Nag-text po sa akin ang victim. Ito po ang kanyang sinabi. Philippine National Police Anti-Kidnapping Group. On behalf of my family and myself, I would like to express my deepest gratitude for everything the AKG has done with regards to my kidnapping since last December 31. I would like to particularly acknowledge Colonel Montero, Major Jose Bagsao, Lieutenant Cindy Ranoy, Sergeant Johnny Diaz, Sergeant Melchor Pakigas, Patrolman Dave Sibal, Marty Cesar Bueno, Ian Lord Pamaran, Ben Pilat, Lieutenant Colonel Morgan Aguilar, Captain Mike Diaz, Captain Mario Pormento, Lieutenant Benito Peralta, ang dami. General Estomo, of course, General Debold Sinas. I did not know about AKG, nor had I ever had reason to turn to law enforcement before my abduction. Throughout my captivity, I did not think my family would be able to find help because my abductors told me again and again they would harm us. If we went to the police, that we would have to face this problem alone. But they were wrong. Since my release, it has been a revelation for me to witness the work of AKG to combat kidnapping problem in the Philippines, to safeguard our community, and to bring people to justice. I thank all of the officers of their competence, diligence, determination, and bravery. While we will await the resolution of this case, I have found assurance in knowing what the AKG has achieved for my sake and for other kidnapping victims as well. Beyond any doubt, you embody and fulfill the purpose of the PNP to serve and protect. Sincerely yours, James Elijah Herrera Yap. Sa lahat, maraming salamat po. Thank you.
Now let us hear the updates of the Feast of Black Nazarene and other security matters and the creation of STG with the Regional Director of NCRPO, Police General Vic Danao.
To our CPNP, fellow officers, friends from the media, good morning. For today, I'll be tackling two topics. One is the update on the Dasera case. Two, the recently concluded Feast of the Black Nazarene. For the update of the Dasera case, immediately after we have received the order of the fiscal for the RFI, our Chief PNP has directed for the immediate formation of the SITG, which is headed by the National Capital Police Region with the CIDG as the lead agency. So as of now, we're still collating pieces of evidence, especially statements from the would-be key witnesses, and we're still awaiting for the results from the forensic science being conducted by the crime lab. All of this will be properly submitted before the fiscal during the preliminary investigation. If we cannot beat the time on January 13, we'll be asking the fiscal for an extension of time, and up to what date will be given by the fiscal. So pagkatapos sir nung araw na yon, this will be up to the appreciation of the fiscal if he will file the case immediately or not. So far, that is the update for the Dasera case. And for the results of the just concluded Feast of the Black Nazarene, so far we have not recorded any major incident except for yung dalawang nahilo lang sir. That was recorded by our health service. All others remained peaceful up to the last minute of the Feast of the Black Nazarene. Actually, I attended the last Mass up to the last people who went out of the church. We have an accumulated number of churchgoers for almost 150,000 for that day alone. That's all, sir, for the two topics that I've discussed, and questions will be entertained later.
Thank you very much, Vic. In support of that, I have directed the Director for Investigation and Detective Management, or DIDM, to conduct a separate inquiry and recommend to us, not later than January 13, their findings on any liabilities of Makati police officers involved in the ongoing investigations of the Dasira case. No, so there is a separate investigations that's spearheaded by the Director for Investigation and Detective Management. Also, to support also the statement of the RD and CRPO, we are also, while they were organizing the SITG, CIDG now is the lead investigator in this case. However, this will still be supervised by the RD and CRPO. So all in all, that's the latest update on the Dasira case. Thank you, Vic. Again, let us hear from the CARE Infodemics, from our director from the Police Community Relation Office, Police Major General Rodel Sermonia.
To our very hardworking CPNP, General Debold, Sinas, sir, members of the command group, the DCA and ASCOP Commander, Lieutenant General Guillermo Eleazar, sir, the DCO and at the same time the COVID Shield Commander, Lieutenant General Cesar Horton Dinan, sir, the Energetica Chief of the Directorial Staff, Lieutenant General Joselito Veracruz, sir, fellow directorial staff, directors of the National Support Units present here, of course, the Regional Director of NCRPO, Brigadier General Danao, to the members of the media, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Almost a year already since the pandemic started, Filipino people are still indifferent to the actual threat of COVID-19 to their very own lives. It seems to them the statistics of people getting infected and killed by the virus is nothing more than just meaningless numbers. Transmission remains high in highly urbanized areas, while people continue to ignore the health protocol the government has set, like simply wearing face masks and face shield, properly washing hands, and observing social distancing. Apparently, what has been lacking all the time is a thorough drive to educate the people in the barangay where the real battleground is, in the barangay level. In an effort to unburden the government in making the people understand that the risk is at their own doorsteps, the PNP launched a massive infodemic drive at the barangay level we now call the PNP CARE, or PNP Coronavirus Awareness Response and Empowerment. The PNP CARE is a brainchild of the Chief PNP, General Debold, Sinas. It strategically identified communities where transmission of COVID-19 was reportedly high. It aims to empower the real power in every household. Women, especially mothers, who has influence over the other members of the family. And at this point, allow me to present the PNP CARE program update on how far have we achieved already in its implementation across regions. So this will be the sequence of my presentation. So at this point, I'd like to present to you an audio-visual presentation to fully understand what is all about the PNP CARE program.
The Philippine National Police Coronavirus Awareness Response and Empowerment, or PNP CARE, has become one of the most relevant and timely programs of the men and women of the National Capital Region Police Office, or NCRPO, which was conceptualized, initiated, and duly implemented during the stint of the former Regional Director and now the 25th Chief of the PNP Police General Debold Sinas. The program is ultimately aimed to educate and empower the mothers from different barangays on how to protect their families and loved ones from contracting COVID-19. It is indeed the noble intent of the current leadership of the Philippine National Police to take its big role in extending its full efforts and exhaust all effective measures in reaching out various communities, the common public in particular, to learn the basic knowledge and significant information in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. On November 19, 2020, Police General Sinas has given its directive to the personnel of PCADG to replicate the PNP Care Program infodemic to expand its implementation to all PNP units nationwide. The first 15 groups of PCADG personnel have been organized as a pool of instructors and lecturers who are already teachers, educators, and nurses by profession prior to their entry to the PNP service. Within Metro Manila and nearby provinces, the team PCADG has conducted infodemic drive to different barangays which were attended mostly by women and mothers. The objective of the PNP Care Program is to empower mothers to take the lead role in strictly observing the basic safety health protocols within their respective households and to help out the government in widely disseminating the prevention tips and other health protocols within their community. As part of the PNP Care Program, physical fitness exercises are introduced to its participants which are especially designed to improve their stamina, immune system, and cardiovascular endurance. The 4-minute exercises are recommended by the two of the most famous fitness coaches in the country, Mr. Jim and Ms. Tony Saret, who devotedly work with a pool of lecturers and instructors during infodemic drive. The Philippine National Police shall remain steadfast and committed to its mandate to serve and to protect the community and the general public. Team PNP, let's vote in!
Okay, that in a nutshell is all about the PNP Care Program. And I'll be showing to you different photos on the different cascading of the PNP Care in different regions, as shown. We started the program in NCRPO. It was actually started during the time of the former RD of NCRPO, now our Chief PNP, General Debold Sinas. Then it was cascaded in 4A and nearby regions, and we have reached as far as in Mindanao and in Visayas. I'll also show you actual photos of the actual engagement in the different regions in the barangay level. Wherein our speakers bureau went down to the barangay levels to do the infodemic from among the initially from the mothers. Ayan po. We started the infodemic first week of December sa mga barangay, but we started the trainers course last week of November. And today, we have just concluded our trainers course in Caraga, Davao 11, Region 8, and Region 6. So makikita natin dito sa matrix, yan yung mga just conducted training or katatapos lang. Kaya wala pa po silang napababaan sa mga barangays. And if you can see, dito po sa NCR where the program started, yan po yung may pinakamaraming napuntahan na barangays. And we hope that before the end of the month, we will be able to reach 5 digits and probably double that 5 digits in the coming months. So although CARE epidemic drive is purely focused on the advocacy on the prevention of COVID-19 at the doorstep of the community, the results of the engagement, given the limited time of engagement, can be deemed promising. Such is the inspiring result of the infodemic that the same formula or template can be utilized to trust similar information campaign relative to the government's anti-illegal drug abuse campaign, as well as to the information campaign requirements for the National Task Force to end the local communist armed conflict. In line with the PNP CARE infodemics, we are likewise looking forward to include in our grassroots information campaign or awareness on the planned government's mass vaccination drive against COVID-19 in order to dispel and debunk agenda-laden misinformation operations and to promote people's trust and confidence on the vaccinations process that are about to take place, probably, hopefully, in the coming months or in the middle of the month. So with that, maraming salamat po. Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you very much, Rodel. In support to the program of the PCR, we have launched this to all regional offices dahil ito po ay kailangan para mas lalo pang maintindihan ng mga kababayan natin kung bakit hanggang ngayon kailangan gumagamit pa tayo ng mask, shield, at saka social distancing. Ang reference po nito ay in coordination with the DOH, yung BIDA ang solution program ng DOH. With that, let us hear from the updates from the Task Force Commander of COVID Shield, General Cesar Binag. Go ahead, sir.
To our CPNP, fellow senior officers, members of the media, good morning. I'll be showing some updates from the COVID Shield Task Force as far as the enforcement of the different quarantine protocols and minimum health standards. This is in support of the local government units and other agencies in charge of regulating or mandated to regulate the different socio-economic activities which were recently opened up. And the following are the data or the information that I'll be sharing. Next slide, please. For the sequence of my presentation, nai-report na dyan kanina yung COVID Shield, yung mga nag-positive sa PNP. This is to highlight the fact that as we enforce these quarantine protocols, yung vulnerability ng PNP ay napakataas. Next slide, please. Next. Na-present naman na kanina yan. Next. Next. Okay, in summary, for the past 299 days, we were able to document the different, violators from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and the actions that we have taken from warning to issuing ticket, then eventually they were fined and detained, then released for regular filing for a grand total of 682,375. Please take note that the biggest percentage as far as the enforcement or the action that we have taken, nandun sa fine, no? Ito yung mga tickets na ini-issue namin o ng ating mga pulis base dun sa ordinansa na ginawa ng mga city and municipalities, no? It accounts for 44%, no? And followed by warning 33% and of course yung detained 30%. Nandiyan din sa table makita nyo yung mga persons arrested because of hoarding, profiteering, and manipulation of prices. for a total of 1,020. And of course, the number of PUBs apprehended for various violations. Incorporated in this data, next slide please, yung mga motorcycle backriding violators by disposition. So, for a total of 202,133. Out of the total, cited were 155,000 or 77%. Then 12% or 25,038 were apprehended, and 11% or 21,100 were warned. No? Next slide, please. Ito naman yung data ng mga sa direct assault, no, by regions. So, tinignan din natin yan. Pag sinabi hindi lang police, kundi yung persons in authority, including yung ating mga health workers, kasama dito na ina-assault ng, as documented. No? For direct assault under RPC, Article 148, for a total of 2,715. Then 145 for indirect, and then yung balance, yung pinakamarami, yung 16,835 for resistance and disobedience to person in authority, for a total of 19,898. No? The next slide, please. Ito, data on fake, falsified RT-PCR or antigen result, and fake travel authority. So pinag-utos natin na pahigpitin ang pag-check doon sa ating mga checkpoints ng mga documents na pinapresent ng mga iba't ibang bumabiyahe. And as shown, no? Yung for the fake falsified swab result, we have a total of 27. Yung fake IATF ID, 2. Fake travel authority, 14. Other fake IDs, government, private organization, 5, and total for a total violation of 63, and total number of persons arrested or violators arrested 117. So we continue to make this appeal and reminder to the public to strictly follow the minimum health standard, the quarantine protocols, and at the same time, kung meron kayong tanong, lalo na sa travel authority, you can approach your nearest police station. They have all the information on the destination that where you have planned to go. Para mas maganda, hindi na kayo magkaroon ng problema pagdating doon sa pupuntahan yung lugar kung maayos ang coordination. So, yun lang po sir, and good morning to all.
Thank you very much, General Binag. An additional information, we have already directed the Health Service and the Regional Director of NCRPO that right after 5 days from now, those who were deployed, personnel that was deployed in the Black Nazarene celebrations will have their mandatory swab test. No? So this is to determine if there is really a spread of COVID-19 in the PNP during that incident, okay? During that event, during the event. So I think the Health Service has already prepared on this directive, and we are just waiting on the time. At minomonitor din nila kung may mga na-deploy ba kami during the Black Nazarene na nag-develop ng symptoms. Up to now, based on the report of the Health Service, ay wala pong pang na-report. So sana tuloy-tuloy na po 'yun at wala na pong mahawa sa amin. Finally, before the answer and the question and answer, I'd like to announce that the admin case of Police Staff Sergeant Jonel M. Nuesca is already resolved. Subject PNCO was charged for 2 counts of grave misconduct and 2 counts of conduct and becoming of a police officer. And he is meted the severest administrative penalty of dismissal from the police service effective today. The dismissal was already implemented by the Regional Director of NCRPO, Police Brigadier General Vic Danao Jr. As to the criminal case, ay ongoing na po yung criminal case and ex-Police Staff Sergeant Jonel Nuesca pleaded not guilty of the offense. So that's it, and that's already complete the cycle of investigations involving ex-Police Staff Sergeant Jonel M. Nuesca. Thank you. With that, we'd like to accommodate some questions from our friends from the media. Go ahead,
Thank you, sir.
General Osana.
The panel headed by the CPNP is now ready for any questions coming from our friends from the media. We start with Miss Ann Soberano, ma'am, from Bombo Radio.
Sir, good morning. Sir, ano na po ang, nabanggit na kasi kanina ni General Danao, yung update sa kaso ni Christine Dacera. Sir, sa ngayon, marami kasing mga lumulutang na mga information. Nais ko lang po, sir, malinawan. Ano po ba talaga? Rape po ba ang kaso ni Christine Dacera or may ibang kaso po tayong tinitignan? Thank you.
Vic, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Yung original na i-file po kasi na case is rape with homicide. So, as of now, we are collating evidences to that effect, especially on the statements of the key witnesses, pending the results of the forensic science conducted by the crime laboratory. So, all of those evidences at hand will be properly submitted to the Fiscal's Office on the preliminary investigation day. So, kung hindi po natin mabit yung time by January 13, tayo po ay hihingi ng extension of time. And the Fiscal will be resolving the issue kung tama po ba yung na-file na case.
So, hindi pa natin masabi, sir, na rape yon or a rape case yon or murder case?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, sa case ni Christine, sir, na-establish po ba na may mga ginamit pong illegal drugs, especially party drugs, sir?
We're still waiting for the results from the crime lab.
Thank you, General. Sir, on the other issue naman, General Sinas, sir, sa kabila ng pinalakas na war on drugs at nasa general community quarantine pa rin tayo, sir, tuloy pa rin yung paglipana ng mga illegal drugs, especially party drugs. Sir, may batid po ba natin kung saan galing itong mga party drugs at may local manufacturer na po ba ng party drugs dito sa Pilipinas?
Napansin nyo, yung mga latest accomplishment and interceptions po namin ay galing po sa labas. Galing sa US at galing po sa Netherlands. As of now, based in our coordinations with our counterparts sa PDEA, ay wala pong manufacturing dito sa atin. Ang lahat po na yan, so far, ay galing po sa labas. Yun po ang binabantayan natin at ini-intercept. Marami po yatang gumagamit ng party drugs ngayon, kaya yun po ang isa sa mga tinutukan po namin. No? Including na rin po yung latest na yung mga high-grade marijuana, yung Kush, kasi ito ay imported. Now, napansin nyo na ang PIDEG po natin ay nag-implement po ng masigasig na operations tungkol dyan. Thank you.
Sir, lastly, mas mataas po ba ang bilang ng mga gumagamit ngayon ng mga party drugs compared po sa shabu? In this quarter, sir, sa pagsisimula natin ng 2021. Kasi series po yung accomplishment ng ating PNP PDEG at itong mga party drugs po ang nare-recover nila, General.
Hindi pa kami makapag-conclude niyan kasi pareho lang naman yan na ginagamit. However, because of yung na-intercept namin, maybe nga maraming gumagamit at nakita niyo man kung gaano kadaming tablets ang nakukuha namin. But we could not conclude it yet unless we could compare with our analysts and from the PDEA itself.
Sir, last na lang. Sir, bakit naglipa na ito ngayon? May pagkukulang ba, sir, sa ating kampanya at nalulusutan tayo nitong mga shipment ng mga illegal drugs, sir. Thank you. Salamat.
Tingin ko wala nang pagkukulang. Nakatuon pa rin yan, kaya napansin nyo, kaya nga na-intercept na natin. No? Pinalakas po natin yung doon sa may airport at nag-usap kami po ng Director General ng PDEA. Pinaikting po namin yung Interagency Interdiction Committee doon na ang chairman po noon ay ang PDEA, vice chair po kami doon. Naglagay na rin kami ng additional na canine dogs doon to assist the dogs deployed by PDEA in the airport. So it resulted to positive interceptions. Hindi po tayo nagpabaya, marami lang siguro tayong nahuhuli sa panahon na to.
Okay, next, Mr. Dolan Castro, sir, from ABS-CBN. Sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning. General Danao, sir, dito po sa kaso ni Crisine Dacera, yung room 2207 po ba nung City Garden ay na-identify na po ba ng ating SITG kung sino-sino yung mga ito? At meron na po ba tayong lead at nasampahan din ba sila ng kaso, sir?
The identities of those persons who are inside room 2207, we're still in the process of identifying the complete names, but we already have the faces. We cannot reveal as of this time. All of this will be submitted if ever ma-identify natin and makakuha tayo ng mga key witnesses. All of these evidences would be properly submitted sa fiscal for the preliminary investigation.
Sir, so far po, nakikita niyo ba, sir, on the positive note, makakapagsamba ba ng kaso ang PNP? Magiging malakas ba kumpara sa mga naunang naging pagsampa ng kaso, sir? Mas magiging maganda ba yung takbo ngayon?
Hopefully, we can get statements from key witnesses and to include the evidences at hand sa forensic science. So kung ito ay makakuha tayo ng maayos na statements to include the positive results coming from the forensic science, magkakaroon tayo ng malakas na kaso. Pero in the absence of which, we will give it up to the fiscal for his appreciation.
Sir, follow up lang. Sorry, nabanggit nyo nga po yung mga forensic exam na yan, sir. Na-examine po ba talaga yung, meron ba talagang malalaman ba natin, sir, yung possibility na nakainom talaga siya or nakainom o nakatake ng drug sa lalabas na forensic exam?
Yun ang iniintay natin na results ngayon.
Considering, sir, na yun po na embalsa mo agad yung katawan ni Christine?
We're still hoping for the best coming from the results of what happened.
Thank you, sir. Sir, last na lang po. Sir, nabanggit po kasi nung family ni Christine Dacera nung last time nag-press con po with PNP na meron silang plano o nagawa na ba yung autopsy na kanilang ginawa, another autopsy, sir. Sir, meron ba kayong idea, sir, kung may resulta na po ito?
Narinig ko lang po, coming from the statement of our Secretary of Justice that he directed NBI to conduct a parallel investigation, especially on the aspect of the forensic science. So regarding the results of this, hindi pa rin po namin alam kung meron na.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next is Ms. Third Ann Malonzo from Sunstar.
Kay PNP Chief po. Sir, last week you had a meeting with the family of Christine and after that, sabi niyo po may mga requests and then the night nung araw na yon, nung gabi, dito siya, binurol siya yung last night niya dito. And pagdating niya doon sa Gensan, medyo maraming pulis na nag-secure doon sa kanyang convoy. And medyo napupulaan lang po kasi yung PNP sa VIP treatment daw po kay Ms. Dacera. Reaction lang po on that, sir, please.
Actually, wala namang VIP treatment. Yung dito, nag-offer kami ng space kasi nga yung mga PAL employees gusto nilang dumalaw. Before idalhin yung cadaver ni Miss Christine doon sa ano to, sa Jensen, ay wala po sila makuhang lugar. They just asked for 2 hours, no? 2 hours lang for viewing ng employees. So instead na makipaghagel pa sila doon for only 2 hours, they asked for our assistance. So yun po ang ginawa namin. So konting ko lang yun, konting request which we granted. At least it helps them na talagang tumutulong naman kami at nag-request sila, which is also valid. So in just 2 hours, no? 2 hours, then chinif na siya papunta ng Jensen. As to the security doon, saka pagkalaman nyo kasi, yung mother po kasi ni Christine is a reservist AAP personnel, Lieutenant Colonel. And he is friendly to both the AAP and the PNP. Marami po siyang kaibigan doon sa lugar nila. So it is just fitting siguro na siyempre kaibigan mo, pupunta ka doon. And hindi naman namin sila pinagbawal. At hindi rin namin sinabi na magpunta sila doon because they did it known as a family friend. So they just pay respect kasi nga ang mother ni Christine Dacera is kasama po namin sa trabaho.
And sir, one more. Yun nga yung meeting, parang hindi rin naging maganda daw yung dating sa public na parang parang unfair na nakipag-meeting kayo dun sa isang kampo lang while the other hindi nyo pa sila hinaharap or something.
Madam, lahat naman po yan pinupuntahan natin. No, kung sino po yung mga biktima, pinupuntahan po namin. Okay? Hindi po yan namimili. Naalala nyo, pumunta rin ako dun sa Paniki. Diba? So, lahat po yan, inasikaso po namin.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next is Maris Umali, ma'am, GMA 7.
Good morning. Sorry. Good morning, sir. Sirs. General Sinas, ano po ang masasabi niyo po dun sa request ng family ni Dacera na gusto nilang mapatanggal sa serbisyo sina Sarmiento, Police Major Michael Nick Sarmiento, dahil sa gross negligence and gross incompetence, gross negligence and gross incompetence in the irregular and inaccurate preparation of Dacera's medical legal report and death certificate, as well as yung sinasabi nga rin po na kakulangan din umano ni Makati City Police Chief Colonel Harold Depositar sa ebidensya, and then parang it seems like he already concluded when he delivered his statement early on last week with regards to this case.
Thank you, Miss Maris Umali. Actually, I have not received any call regarding that one sa kanila. Okay? However, we are investigating, nagganda kami ng internal inquiry dyan by the IDM. Kung ano po ang recommendations ng Director for Investigation and Detective Management ay i-evaluate ko po yun at doon po kami mag-usap ng RD, ng NCRPO to compare notes regarding sa inquiry na gagawin po ng DIDM. Until then, hintayin na lang natin kasi nga may procedures din kami sinusunod at meron po kami mga palisiya para po mabigyan ng chance ang bawat isa sa amin mag-explain on what really happens. Thank you.
General Danao, sir. Is there still a possibility to get evidence that there was actually rape kung naimbalsa mo agad yung body without getting enough specimens? Kasi ang sinasabi po, enlighten us, sir, kasi ang sinasabi po ng mga forensic experts, malabo nang makakuha ng ebidensya kung talaga bang na-rape or hindi because she was embalmed right away prior to getting enough specimens for the forensic investigation.
Yung pagkuha po kasi ng specimen, pending results po ng forensic science po na ginawa sa body, Sa ngayon po, hindi ko pa po masagot kasi hindi ko pa po nakita yung results. But the possibility na sinasabi natin, sana marami tayong makuha ng ebidensya. Okay? Pero we have to remember na it's not only forensic science ang basis po natin dyan. Another could be the statements of the key witnesses. So yun pong iniintay natin.
Sir, pero meron na po bang, I understand kanina parang binanggit niyo po, tama po ba na yung sa second forensic investigation wala pa pong resulta?
Yung kinakandak po ng NBI, wala pa pong resulta.
Alright. Sir, last Friday I interviewed you and you mentioned na ang naiba yung sistema ng o yung SOP ng you have to put the body first, you have to embalm the body first kasi nasa panahon tayo ng pandemya. Tama po, no? Sinabi niyo na hindi, kaya naiba yung sistema, yung SOP, ay dahil nasa panahon tayo ng pandemya. There are some who are questioning kung talagang she is believed to be possible or a case of, merong case ng COVID dahil nga sila ay nasa isang hotel na itinuturing na quarantine facility. Ang tamang proseso raw po ay dapat kinremate agad, hindi yung i-embalsa mo. So parang may mga iba na sinasabi na parang lumulusot lang daw na medyo na iba lang po yung proseso dahil nasa COVID pandemic tayo, na panahon tayo ng COVID pandemic. Pero yung reaction nyo lang po doon, sir?
Personally, yun nga po yung isang reason why our Chief PNP has directed DIDM in order to see if there are some lapses that happened on that day. So, inimbestigahan pa po natin yan. And definitely, pag meron pong may nagkasala dyan, it's up to the higher authorities to decide.
Alright. Sir, sorry. On another topic, yung kay Nuesca, is there a possibility na yung, kasi di ba, before, when we had our previous press conferences, sinabi naman po na lahat naman ng mga pulis ay dumadaan sa neuropsychological tests at lahat naman sila merong presumption of regularity. Dito po sa case na ito, we understand that proper administrative and criminal cases have been filed. Pero when he pleaded not guilty on the criminal case, ang sinasabi po ng lawyer is merong temporary insanity. Kaya he pleaded not guilty. Meron po bang possibility na yung mga results ng mga previous neuropsychological tests niya will negate yung possibility na nagkaroon siya ng insanity?
Hindi ko po masagot yan, ma'am. Anyway, that is his defense, and I leave it to his defense counsel to expound it.
Okay, sir,
We will
but-
not answer it.
But as PNP, na kayo rin po yung nagpa-file ng kaso, will you use that the previous neuropsychological results to help the family of the victim? Kasi kitang-kita naman po dun sa video. Kasi in other cases, well, hindi naman po namin yun itatanong. Kaya lang dito, kitang-kita sa video na talagang binaril. Talagang there is a very clear evidence. Bilang PNP po, we understand na pag-aaralan pa po to, pero do you see the possibility of using his previous neuropsychological test results para i-negate yung kung ano man yung temporary insanity na i-file nila or magiging defense nila in this particular case to help the victims? Bilang kayo rin po ay isa sa mga nagpa-file ng case against Nuesca.
Ma'am, we have filed the case against Nuesca. At hindi ko alam kung anong stand po ng prosecutor or defense. Nasa court na po yon. Now, kung ano pong kailangan nila sa amin ay ipipresent po namin. Hindi po kami mag-offer ng kung ano pang ebidensya kasi lahat ng ebidensya ay na-forward na po namin.
Alright, thank you, sir.
Next is Ms. Pat Manguni, TV5, ma'am.
Hi, Sir General Sinas.
Hello.
Sir, balikan ko lang yung Dasera case. What happened, sir? Na-receive niyo na po ba, sir, o hindi pa, yung complaint ng family na ipatanggal ang medical legal officer?
Again, ma'am?
Na-receive na po ba ng inyong office or kayo po mismo yung kopya po ng reklamo po ng Dasera family? Gusto po nilang ipatanggal sa serbisyo si medical legal officer?
Ako, wala akong natanggap na documents or anything. And kung meron man, ay pag-aralan po namin. I will check with the other staff concerned po.
But sir, will it be forwarded to IAS o sa inyo muna?
Wala po pa naman silang sinabi sa akin kung minatanggap sila. Kung matanggap naman sila, kagaya ng ibang mga opisina, they will inform me as the Chief PNP. As of now, wala po ako natanggap.
Okay. Sir, the Makabayan Block naman po from the House issued a resolution. They want an investigation on the mishandling daw po ng Dasera investigation. Can we get your comment on that, sir?
No comment.
Pero sir, are you willing to appear naman kapag nagpatawag po sila ng hearing?
No comment.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Next is Mr. Alfred Dallison from People's Journal, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. Sir,
Yes.
last week, first of all, congratulations lang. Last week, hindi mo sinagot yung questions about the kidnapping ni
Yeah, James Yap.
James Yap. And nagtatrabaho pala yung AKG, sir, na-solve finally. Can we ask General Estomo to give us some details about the kidnappings pa? Sir, organized crime KFR group ba tong involved na to? O kakilala nila yung victim, sir?
Eric.
Mic test. Unang-una, gusto kong sagutin yung tanong mo, bakit hindi nasagot ni Chief PNP. Nung nangyari kasi yan, kung mapansin ninyo, nakalat agad sa Facebook. Nakalat sa Facebook yan na merong nangyaring kidnapping, yung yak na yan. Ngayon ang ginawa ko, ako mismo ang pero na-inform ko si Chief PNP, ako mismo ang nagbigay ng guidance na dapat maikalat din na na-release na. Pero actually, hindi pa na-release. Kasi ang reason ko, pag kumalat ng ganyan, marami na magtatanong. So, baka naman mapahamak yung biktima. Baka patayin na bigla without any negotiation. So, ganun ang nangyari po dyan. Second, nung nagkaroon ng negotiation, nung sabi ko nga kanina, nagkaroon na ng pay-off, pumayag ng kidnapper, nagkaroon kami ng idea ngayon, sino yung aming mga target. Nakuha namin yung mga plaka, yung ginamit ng kidnapper during the pay-off, nakuha namin yung, of course, hindi man natin masabi na yung mga location, gumamit tayo mga ganyan. So, dahil dyan, sa payoff na yan, marami kaming nakuha ng mga ginamit ng mga sasakyan. That's the reason why na-solve natin, nakuha natin yung mga safe houses ng kidnapper, nakuha natin yung plata, yung registered owner, na kung saan siya mismo ay umamin na siya ang mastermind sa kidnapping. Second, yung tanong mo kung anong klaseng kidnap na grupo to, ito ay simpleng criminal gang lang. Ang kanilang senaryo talaga is, actually, yung victim, hindi nila target. Meron talaga silang ibang target, pero hindi nila nakuha nung Pasko pa. So ito, natsambahan lang na nagbabike ng isa, kinuha na. Akala nila ganun kayaman, kaya kung mapansin ninyo, ang ransom na kanilang hiningi, 200 million agad na naipababa natin hanggang 1.5 million. So, thank you sa inyong tanong. Gusto ko rin na makiusap sa mga media na may bahagi natin itong mga yung nangyari na to para at least sa mga ibang mga maging biktima pa ng mga grupo na to. Anyway, huwag kayong mag-alala. Kami po from EKG, may mga idea na kami kung sino yung mga grupo na to at bibigyan kayo namin ng update kung maging maganda ang resulta ng aming follow-up operation. Thank you.
Sir, second question lang, sir. Yung sa briefing ni General Marcos kanina, sir, yung sa increasing homicide incidents sa NCR, 4A and Region 2, yung increasing the use of pointed and sharp-bladed objects as a main weapon. May interventions na ginagawa nyo right now para ma-address nung problem na to, sir?
Before I will answer that, could I ask Director of the ADM to expound it further? Morning.
Well, with that, we were able to extract from our Sinas that these were the weapons that were used. Now, in any homicide case, again, there are different weapons or modes how these homicide cases are being done. And napansin lang namin yung bladed weapons being used for these cases, these crimes being perpetrated. As to the interventions, again, yung MPO natin in place, police operations natin still in place.
To add up, Fred, we have already issued directive. Alam naman yung synchronized info po namin ay tuloy at yung sita po natin ay ongoing pa po. No? Kasama na po dyan hindi lang po firearms, kundi pati na mga bladed weapons, ng mga unauthorized bladed weapons na sinisita po natin. Marami na rin po tayo nahuli yan sa kalye. So, tuloy po yan. This one just came out from the statistics at analysis of the DITM. Thank you.
Alright, next is Ma'am Bea Bernardo from PTV4.
Good morning, Chief. Ang update lang po sana sa dalawang elderly na napatay po during operation sa Iloilo noong December 26 kasi yung lalaki daw po ay high-ranking official ng NPA. Baka may information na po tayo. Thank you po.
Do you have the name?
Antonio... Sorry. Antonio Cabanatan po.
Yung ba yung mag-asawa?
Yes po. Sa Iloilo.
If you check our record, Bea, hindi po yan namatay sa police operations. If I'm mistaken, parang niluuban yan sila. Diba? 1 minute, we'll retrieve the records for you. Okay. Please. Miss Bea, go to your second questions. Pag makuha ko yung papel, I'll give you an update kung pwede.
Actually, yun lang po yung question ko. Thank you, Chief.
So,
Next is Rhea Mamugay from PGen.
Good morning po. Sir, kay PNP Chief, sir, since ito pong si Joel Nuesca ay sinibak na sa surveys, ano po yung mga benefits na mawawala sa kanya? At ngayong araw din po ba aalisin na siya sa custody ng Philippine National Police?
yung dismiss niya, lahat po yung beneficio niya except yung cumulative leave niya ay tanggal po. No? Kasi yung leave po, nasa batas po yun, yung unpaid leaves niya, unused leaves niya, ay pwede pa niya kunin. Okay? The rest, ayun na po. Pangalawa, I think tinransfer na po siya sa PGen. No? After nagka-issue ng community order, ay tinransfer agad siya. So wala na po siya sa custody ng Paniki Police Stations natin.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We come back to Ms. Max Manman for additional questions.
Sir, question lang. Kanina binanggit niyo po na yung mga policemen who were deployed sa Black Nazarene Feast will undergo mandatory swab testing. May we know kung gaano karami po ito, more or less, an average of how many policemen will have to undergo these swab tests? And paano po ang magiging sistema sa Metro Security if they will have to undergo the swab test? Because of course, when you undergo the swab test, you have to be quarantined until the results will come out.
I will let Vic answer, please.
Yung directly involved po doon sa area mismo sa Black Nazarene, we have deployed 4,500 personnel coming from the different districts. This include the personnel from the MPD. So yun po yung directly exposed talaga during the conduct of Black Nazarene. So they will be, ang priority po natin dyan, yung po may mga symptoms, and then they will be by batch hanggang sa matapos po yung 4,500.
So definitely, sir, this will not affect the Metro Security, of course, the assignments of these policemen while they are undergoing quarantine?
Yes. So it will be by batch naman din palitan. So kung magne-negative naman yan, kasi we have 24 hours results naman makukuha ka agad. So lahat ng negative, babalik ulit agad.
Sir, let me just take this opportunity since kayo na rin po yung kausap ko. Do we already have, because you mentioned a while ago that apart from the forensic evidence, of course we're relying on testimonial evidence from the witnesses. So far po ba, meron tayong leads or posibleng makuha, mahawakang mga ebidensya na testimonial evidence proving that there was actually there was rape that happened kay Dasera. Meron po ba tayong gano'n na makukuha from the testimonial evidence of witnesses?
Sa ngayon po ma'am, nag-iimbestiga po tayo, and pag makulate na po natin lahat to, it will be submitted sa fiscal for his appreciation.
No, the reason why I'm asking, sir, is because the result of the medical legal examination says if there was aortic aneurysm. Ano po ang evidence natin or ano ang natutulak sa atin for us to still push for the angle na rape po siya? May malinaw at matibay po ba tayong ebidensya apart from the semen that was found on the private part of the Dasera?
Wala po yata kaming nasabi na may semen po found in his private part.
Meron po kasing lumalabas. I don't know if it came from you or from some
Definitely po, hindi po galing sa akin.
Alright, sir. So apart from that, ang tanong ko po, sir, may malinaw po ba tayong ebidensya na kung bakit pinaninindigan po natin yung rape na angle?
Nag-iimbestiga pa po tayo. Yun po kasi yung initial case na final na Makati Police. Okay? So meron po tayong preliminary investigation. It was referred for further investigation. So ibig sabihin, being the original case that was filed, kailangan depensahan ninyo yun. So kung hindi natin madedepensahan yan, alam nyo na kung saan pupunta yung kaso.
So, sorry, just to clarify, the only reason why we are still pushing for the rape angles because it is the initial case that was filed. That's why we have to defend it. But as far as testimonial evidence is concerned and other forensic evidence is concerned, we don't have that yet.
Kaya nga po tayo nag-iimbestiga para may labas po natin yung katotohanan.
But so far, we don't have it yet.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one last, General Sinas. Sir, may new quarantine rule daw po or strict order about wearing face shields and face masks while on duty. Sa inyo po ba nanggaling to or sa pamunuan ng PNP sa tamang pagsusuot talaga ng face mask and face shield? Because recently po, di ba parang nagkaroon na talagang dapat apart from face mask, we also have to wear face shields. Pero meron po ba tayong nilabas na talagang mas mahigpit na utos on the proper wearing of it?
Ms. Maris, hindi po galing sa amin yun. Galing po yun sa NITF.
Okay.
Sila po nag-issue noon na aside sa face mask ay may face shield. Noong last December na, minandatory na nila yun sa mga convergence at saka sa mga malls. Kami lang sa amin, para sa mga pulis namin, we issued the directive na kailangan mag-face mask at saka face shield lalo na pag lumalabas sa opisina at kung may kaharap ka.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Next is Mark Macalaran, sir, from Debold. And then finally, Mr. Lloyd Kaliman.
Hi, Chief. Good morning po. Chief, good morning. Sir, yung sa 9 na police na sangkot sa holo shooting sa 4 na sundalo, may lumabas na bang warrant of arrest? Tsaka nasa restrictive custody pa ba sila dito sa kampo o na-turn over na sa pamilya?
Sa holo?
Yes, sir.
Actually, sila po ay nai-release na kasi wala pong warrant of arrest na binigay sa amin. We have coordinated with the DOJ at saka sa lahat. Hanggang ngayon, wala po. So, ayaw po namin na ma-charge po kami ng arbitrary detention. At saka yung pinirmahan ko pong dismissal is implementable na po yun. So, we turn them over to their relatives and lawyers po.
Kailan sila na-turn over sa family po nila?
Sir?
Kailan, sir? Anong petsa po? Kailan po sila na-turn over? Nakalabas po dito sa Krame?
Last week. Last week.
Last week.
Sometimes last week. I will just I will ask the in charge po kung sino po. Alam ko last week yan.
Sir Lloyd Kaliwan will no longer ask question. We proceed to Miss Eunice Celerio from Filipino Mirror, ma'am.
General, good morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Para po sa JTF COVID Shield po. Kay General.
Yes. Okay pa. Cesar?
Sir, dun po sa Dasera killings, Dasera case po pala. Sir, may nakita po bang violations sa health protocols, yung pong 11, ng grupo po ni Christine? Kasi po nagpabook po sila dun sa hotel na yon na alam po na quarantine facility. And then, 11 po sila dun sa kwarto. Okay, sir. Kung may violation sa health protocols, kasi quarantine facility po pala yung...
Yes, ma'am. Unang-una, that hotel was declared as a quarantine facility. That's why, nung nakita po yung mga possible violations na nandun, the city administrator of Makati already gave a show cause order on those violations, kung bakit para hindi sila mapunish. Pangalawa, also the Department of Tourism also gave a show cause order to the hotel, and I think it will be the answer will be given anytime this week.
Sir, follow-up lang po. How about po yung owner po ng hotel, may violations po ba sila? Bakit nila tinanggap?
May management po kasi yan, so titingnan po later kung ano yung magiging sagot nila, bakit nagkaroon ng mga possible violations na katulad po na nangyari na yun.
Sir, follow-up pa rin po. Kasi po meron pong isang interview sa TV na parang nung daw pong nalaman na parang unconscious si Christine, inabot pa ng 45 minutes bago umaksyon po ng management ng hotel. Na mayroon na po ba kayong pinatawag para may imbestigahan din po sa staff ng hotel na yun?
Isa rin po yun sa tinitignan natin.
Okay, sir. Thank you po.
I guess that is supposed to be the last question. Sir Dolan, you have follow-up question, please? Okay.
Kay PNP Chief General Sinas, sir. Sir, nung mga nakaraang araw po hanggang nung last Friday, Thursday and Friday hanggang ngayon po, nagdadatingan po sa PGen NCR yung mga na bigyan po natin ng 72 hours na pagsuko yung nabanggit niyo nung last time. Sir, ano po ang mangyayari ngayon? Ang dumating po kasi puro mga lawyers nila usually. Ang iba naman hindi pa dumarating talaga. Kahit nasampina na hanggang ngayon po may mga dumarating pa. Sir, nabanggit niyo parang pag hindi comply, direct contempt, tapos may arrest warrant na mangyayari. Tuloy pa rin ba to, sir? Tuloy pa rin po ba to?
Anong question mo doon?
Ay sir, ano po, yung pong nakaraan po kasi nag-press con po kayo with the family, tapos nabanggit po natin na mag-i-issue tayo ng sampina sa mga suspects sa Sierra
okay.
case. Tapos ang tanong ko po, General, tuloy pa rin po ba yung ating banggit na saka mga hindi magko-comply, direct contempt, tapos may arrest warrant na possible pa rin ba, sir, yan?
Yung sa Dasira ba ito?
Yes, sir, the Sierra case po.
Okay. Again, I remind you that CIDG is handling the case and CIDG has, meron na nasa kanya na yung subpoena power namin. Okay? And they are the ones nagkadak ng subpoena sa kanila. Now, kung hindi sila sisipot after serving the subpoena, ay magpa-file po ang CIDG ng direct contempt against them. Wherein, kung may warrant mailabas, ay at least we will force them to report to CIDG for questioning to shed lights bakit nakita sila doon sa area based on the CCTV provided by the hotel management.
Tuloy pa rin, sir.
Tuloy pa rin yun. Tuloy na po. Kasi nag-handle na directly ang CIDG rito sa SITG.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
So
you.
that ends this session for this morning, sir, please.
And Bea, I'll just give you the details, no? Kasi hindi nakahabol. But if you will see, that incident ay hindi po yun police operations. It's parang inakyat ata, ninakawan sila. Then in the course of investigations, it was found out that they are top CCPNPA leaders, no? Na nag-disguise, nagtago. I'll give you the details once makuha po namin. Thank you.
Proceeding na rin po, sir, si Sir Ramos.
Thank you very much for coming. If you have anything more details and specific, please confer and coordinate po sa PIO po namin headed by General Brandy Osana. At salamat po sa palaging pagsuporta sa PNP. Thank you at mabuhay po tayong lahat.